is Alexander Volkanovski now the featherweight GOAT? I mean, there's been other names in the conversation, but is he the GOAT now?
I think we're going to disagree on this one, but here's my argument for Volk. Volk, a lot of us were saying if he can get past this puzzle that last week in Rodriguez, he did so. He finished him, right? So that right there, that gave me the yes. He's the number one right there. You look at it, Volk, Aldo, Max, that's kind of my list. Volkanovski has beaten Max Holloway 3 times. He has also beaten Jose Aldo once. He's only 2 fights behind Jose Aldo, but the way that he's been beating these people, these finishes that show that he belonged at the top of the list, the well-roundedness, the comparison to GSP that we just said. This is something that very few champions have, the GSPs, the John Jones, to be able to adapt. And lastly, even in his loss to Makhachev, he looked so good going up in weight against a guy that anybody could barely even win a round, and he made it a closely contested fight. He is the featherweight GOAT in my eyes.
So I have Jose Aldo, and although he's only a few fights behind Jose in the UFC, the only reason that the 145-pound division is in the UFC is because of Jose Aldo. I don't think that Alexander Volkanovski has enough time left in the division to overtake Jose. And I said this exact same thing to Alex, and he didn't necessarily disagree. I think it's over a lifetime in the division. I mean, Jose Aldo beat everybody. He changed the way that people fought. And it's just the longevity of his dominance. I do think that Jose Aldo does hold that top spot. That's not saying that I think that Jose Aldo is better than Alexander Volkanovski. I think just over a decade of just finishing people in the octagon, I think that it's Jose Aldo.
Okay. Nicely stated, both of you gentlemen. On to question number 2. Should there be an immediate rematch between Pantoja and Moreno? Alan.
Who's up on this one? I feel like
go ahead.
this is the desk of disagreement today. I already know. We've been talking about this. This is like the gossip for us. So I think there is an immediate rematch. You know why? Because that fight was such a close fight. It was so good. And then you look at the rest of the guys in the division. They've already, a lot of the other guys have been beaten. You look at Brandon Royval. Both of these guys have already beaten Royval. Kai Kara France, he's been beaten. This was a fight that could have gone either way. I did think they make the right decision with Pantoja. He was able to edge it out at the end. But this is a fight that I could see a couple more times. The only thing is, Moreno, he's the king of rematches. He has to be careful about being in so many rematches. But Albazi and Royval at this point, I think they should fight. That could be a number 1 contender fight if these guys get a rematch, Anthony.
Yeah, I think I just want to see something fresh. It has nothing to do with either one of those guys or Royval or Albazi. I just want to see a fresh matchup. I think Brandon Moreno, he's been in a lot of tough fights, but what happens if Brandon Moreno goes in there and then wins versus Pantoja? So now it's 3-1. You got to do it. It's best out of 14 or so. You know, it's
Totally.
You can only do it so many times. I think we need to see some fresh blood. Let's see the division running forward, and let's get a new matchup.
It's more the fresh blood that you're looking at, not
It is. I want to
necessarily-
see a fresh matchup, and let's keep them rolling. And maybe Moreno fights either Albazi or rematches with Royval.
Right.
With something a little new.
What's tough for me, KB, I didn't mean to cut you
go
off,
ahead.
was Albazi. He's the fresh blood, and he's the guy that's a savage. But it was such a close fight
With
that he
Kai
had
Kara
against
France,
Kai.
meanwhile,
So it's like, what do we do? It's tough.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.